Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. It was supposed to be the happiest time of their lives. A dream wedding, a tropical honeymoon, a young couple madly in love. But 48 hours after they landed in paradise, he vanished. No witnesses. No signs of struggle, just a new bride and a missing groom. What the world didn't know was that she wasn't grieving, she was waiting. And behind her perfect smile was a $2 million secret. This is a twisted story of betrayal, greed, and murder masked as matrimony. Honeymoon horror. Groom disappeared. Bride was hiding a dark plan. Jason Carter was the kind of man people admired. Hardworking, humble, raised in a small town in Georgia. At 33, he'd finally found stability, a rising career in finance, a circle of loyal friends, and a heart wide open for love. And then came Arielle Dawson. She was magnetic, beautiful, mysterious, a nurse practitioner who had moved into town barely a year earlier. Friend would later say she seemed too good to be true, attentive, affectionate, maybe even too perfect. But Jason was smitten. Within 6 months, they were engaged. Their wedding was the kind that fills Pinterest boards, white orchids, ocean views, handwritten vows. And their honeymoon destination? The lush beaches of St. Lucia. But the wedding photos would become evidence, and the honeymoon suite would turn into a crime scene. On the 3rd day of their honeymoon, hotel staff noted something strange. Arielle was alone at breakfast, then at lunch, then again at the pool. When asked where Jason was, she gave different answers. He's sleeping in. He went snorkeling. He needed some alone time. By the 4th day, she reported him missing. The police were called. The local Coast Guard searched. There were no signs of Jason. No personal belongings missing, no note, no struggle in the hotel room. Just a missing husband and a tearful wife. Back in Georgia, friends were stunned. But investigators started digging. And what they found shifted everything. Just 2 months before the wedding, Arielle had taken out a $2 million life insurance policy on Jason. The beneficiary? Herself. Even more chilling, Jason never signed the policy paperwork. His signature had been forged, but that wasn't all. Arielle's phone records revealed she'd been in constant communication with another man, a man named Derek Hayes, a former lover from her past, a man with a violent record and a history of fraud. A man who had suddenly gone off the grid just before the honeymoon. Authorities tracked Arielle's digital footprint. Messages were recovered, encrypted chats, deleted emails, and one damning draft left in a note-taking app. Once it's done, I fly back alone. Cry, collect, you wait in Dominica. We disappear together. When Arielle was brought in for questioning, her story unraveled quickly. Her tears turned cold. Her timeline fell apart. And then came the final blow. A hotel guest came forward. He had snapped a sunset photo from his balcony the night Jason vanished. When he zoomed in to show the view, there they were, Jason and Arielle, arguing on the cliffside just before dusk. It would be the last image of Jason alive. Divers were sent to the location captured in the photo. 2 days later, a body was recovered from a rocky inlet. Dental records confirmed it was Jason. He had blunt force trauma to the head. Arielle claimed he slipped, but the angle of the blow told another story. It came from behind. Arielle was arrested at the airport attempting to board a flight back to Dominica with a one-way ticket and $45,000 in cash. During the trial, prosecutors painted her as a master manipulator, a woman who married for money, planned to murder down to the flight times, and used love as a weapon. The jury took less than 3 hours to convict her of first-degree murder and insurance fraud. She never shed a tear in court. Jason Carter believed he had found the love of his life, but she had only found her target. A perfect wedding, a perfect crime, until it all came crashing down. And while Jason's family mourns, the world watches, haunted by one question. How many more Arielles are out there, planning their next honeymoon horror? 6 months after Arielle's conviction, an investigative journalist named Maya Colton receive an anonymous envelope. Inside were photocopies of handwritten pages, signed D. At first, Maya thought it was a hoax, but the handwriting matched Arielle's booking forms. It was real. In these letters, Arielle wasn't remorseful. She was philosophical, even poetic. Jason wasn't a victim. He was a dreamer. Too trusting, too eager to believe that love heals all. But love is also violent. It consumes. It rots. She called a murder a sacrifice for freedom. She insisted she was in love with Derek Hayes, the man she had plotted a crime with. But that wasn't the shocking part. Arielle claimed Jason knew about the affair and agreed to keep her secret. Jason said he forgave me for loving someone else, she wrote. He said all he wanted was for me to be happy. He didn't know what that meant, but I did. Arielle painted herself not as a manipulator, but a woman driven to extremes by repression and control. She claimed Jason proposed taking out the life insurance policy, so she would be safe in case anything ever happened to him. But every shred of evidence said otherwise. The signature was forged. The application was filled out from her work computer, not his. And Jason never told a single soul, not friends, not family, about the policy. As Maya dug deeper, she noticed a chilling pattern in Arielle's letters. The language of possession. Jason was mine. He gave me everything, so I took everything. In a second batch of letters, Arielle described the moment of the murder. He turned his back to me. The wind caught his shirt, and in that second, I saw him as small, fragile, breakable. I didn't push. I cracked. I snapped. I did what I had to do to end the lie we were both living. But the letters became more erratic over time, laced with rage, bitterness, and most disturbingly, hope, because Arielle believed her story would be her redemption. Someday, they'll make a movie out of this, she wrote, and people will finally understand why I did it. Maya began to investigate Arielle's life before Jason, and what she found revealed a trail of damaged men and dark secrets. In Florida, a former boyfriend filed a restraining order after she allegedly threatened to make him disappear. In Chicago, an ex-colleague claimed Arielle was fired for falsifying medical records. In Dominica, where Derek Hayes had retreated to, his body was discovered washed ashore, with bruising and shallow water in his lungs. Cause of death? Undetermined. Suddenly, the killer bride had no co-conspirator. Just one more man gone, one more trail gone cold. Arielle is now serving a life sentence in a maximum security prison in Florida. But her letters haven't stopped. She still writes, weekly, to journalists, professors, even strangers on Reddit threads about female killers. Each letter reads like a confession, a sermon, a memoir. And in one recent letter, she teased something chilling. You've only heard one version of the story, Jason's story. My side hasn't even started yet. Jason Carter lost his life for love. Derek Hayes lost his life for lust. And Arielle Dawson, she hasn't lost a thing, not yet. But when a killer starts writing their own legacy, what happens when someone decides to believe them? Daniel Craig was a 37-year-old indie filmmaker with a string of low-budget documentaries and a fascination with criminal psychology. His last project had explored cult leaders, and Arielle's letters captivated him. He reached out, and she responded. Within a week, Arielle had mailed him 35 pages of unfiltered writing, a list of suggested episode titles, and a warning. If you want the truth, you'll have to be brave enough to fall in love with a killer. Daniel wasn't intimidated. He was intrigued. He pitched the story to a streaming platform as a true crime series with exclusive access to the subject herself. They signed immediately. As Daniel corresponded with Arielle, her tone shifted. She no longer wrote like a prisoner. She wrote like a seductress, a philosopher, and at times, a goddess. What is love if not obsession with a little perfume? Jason couldn't handle my truth. Can you? Daniel, once the objective filmmaker, started defending her in meetings. He pushed for reenactments that showed her as a misunderstood woman rather than a cold-blooded killer. He began calling her complicated, misjudged, even deep. One producer grew uncomfortable and left the project. Privately, Daniel began visiting Arielle in prison. He told friends it was for research, but soon they stopped hearing from him. The production halted. Cameras sat unused. Daniel stopped submitting scripts. And then came the scandal. A leaked letter surfaced. From Arielle to Daniel, marked confidential. You say you want to tell my story, but are you willing to sacrifice your life like Jason did? He loved me, just not enough to let go of control. But I think you understand. The media exploded. The once neutral filmmaker was now under scrutiny. Was he being manipulated, or was he falling willingly? When police questioned Daniel, he admitted he was emotionally invested in the case. His home office revealed over 50 letters from Arielle, many of them romantic, explicit, disturbingly persuasive. And in one folder labeled private, a printed draft of a new title appeared, The Woman Who Made Me Believe in Murder. One last time, Daniel visited Arielle in prison, with a recording device on him, provided by authorities. The goal, to confirm if Arielle had planned Jason's murder in advance, and if she also played a role in Derek Hayes' death. What she said was bone-chilling. You men, you always want to know why. But I want to ask when. When will you admit that power is more intoxicating than love? That being desired is more lethal than a gun. Jason was a symbol. Derek was a souvenir. You're the story. And then she smiled and asked, would you die to make it to Netflix? The audio Daniel recorded never made it to the authorities. He deleted it, and he never returned to the prison. Instead, 2 weeks later, he resigned from the project, vanished from social media, and moved to a secluded cabin in Oregon to work on a book. But whispers began circulating that Arielle had sent him instructions, that she had promised one last truth, but only if he came back, and some believe he will. She murdered one man for money, another for secrecy, and now she's playing a long game with a camera lens pointed at her and the world watching. But the scariest thing? She's still writing, and someone is still reading. In Part 4, a new player emerges and claims to be Arielle's half-sister, with her own disturbing story to tell. Is it the beginning of Arielle's undoing or another thread in her web? 2 months after Daniel Cray abandoned the documentary and vanished into rural Oregon, the production company received a voicemail. It was calm, collected, the voice of a woman. You don't know me, but I know Arielle. I'm her sister, and you're telling the wrong story. Her name was Naomi Ryder. She claimed to be Arielle's half-sister. Same mother, different fathers. They hadn't spoken in over 10 years. Why? Because I got out, and she didn't like that. Naomi wasn't reaching out for fame. She wasn't pitching a book or a documentary. She was terrified. If you think Arielle just snapped on her honeymoon, you're wrong. That was the final act. There's a whole play before it, and it started when we were kids. Naomi's story paints a disturbing portrait of Arielle, not as a broken woman, but as a calculated manipulator from childhood. She described growing up with a single mother in a turbulent home. Their mother, cold, withdrawn, and obsessed with appearances, openly favored Arielle. Arielle learned early that if she cried, she got attention. If she got hurt, she got rewards. But if someone else cried, she punished them. Naomi recounted multiple chilling incidents. A neighbor's dog found dead in their yard. Arielle blamed Naomi. Their mother believed her. A school friend pushed down a flight of stairs, never confirmed who did it. But Arielle came home with the girl's necklace. And once, when Naomi refused to lie for her sister, she woke up to a burned patch of hair on her pillow. She didn't scream. She didn't shout. She smiled. Always smiled. Naomi cut ties with her family at 17 and changed her name to Sever Association. But over the years, she kept track of Arielle. She watched quietly as Arielle got fired from 3 different hospitals for falsifying prescriptions, was questioned in 2 suspicious patient deaths, and lived under multiple aliases, using middle names, fake addresses, and even losing ID documents right before major life events. But Naomi never spoke up until she heard about Jason's murder. And then, Derek's body. Naomi didn't just come forward for the public. She came forward because she got a letter. It was postmarked from the prison and signed. But inside was a single sentence. I always finish what I start. And beneath that, a photo of the two sisters as children, ripped down the middle. Naomi showed this to authorities. The prison mail logs confirmed that Arielle had sent out over 50 letters in the past month, many of them to unknown recipients. Was she sending threats, instructions, triggers, or was it part of something darker? A second act, even from behind bars? A forensic psychiatrist who reviewed Naomi's statements suggested a disturbing possibility. This isn't just sociopathy. Arielle exhibits traits of a narcissistic sadist with generational trauma. If her mother enabled her behavior, or modeled it, there may be an entire psychological legacy here. That theory gained traction when a cousin in Virginia came forward anonymously, claiming Arielle tried to coerce her into fraud at age 19 and became violent when she refused. Suddenly, Arielle wasn't just a killer. She was a pattern, a pathology, a warning. One man died for love, another for lust, a third walked into her web and disappeared from public life. But now, the ghosts of her past are waking up, and her own blood is sounding the alarm. What if this wasn't a one-time killing, but part of a long, winding chain of destruction? Now a journalist reopens an old death ruled accidental and finds Arielle's name in the police notes. Was Jason just a final act, or merely the first one we noticed? Investigative journalist Maya Colton, who originally published Arielle's prison letters, received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a single sticky note. Start with the EMT in Tampa. 2015. His mother never believed it was a suicide. Attached was a newspaper clipping. Local paramedic 27. Found dead in apparent overdose. The man's name? Lucas Brantley. Maya had never heard of him. But one detail in the article sent a chill down her spine. Brantley was reportedly dating a nurse named Arielle D. But the relationship had ended weeks before his death. Lucas was found in his apartment, needle in his arm, empty vials nearby, no signs of forced entry. Cause of death was ruled an accidental overdose. But friends and family insisted Lucas didn't do drugs. His mother, Margaret Brantley, told Maya he hated needles, even fainted giving blood. I knew it wasn't right, but nobody listened. Margaret filed 2 requests to reopen the case. Both were denied. Until now, because when Maya got the autopsy report, she noticed something bizarre. The vials found near Lucas's body, prescribed to a patient Arielle had treated the week prior. An initials AD appeared on a chart entered the day before Lucas's death. A chart that was later amended and re-signed. The handwriting on the amended signature confirmed to be forged. Maya cross-referenced Arielle's employment timeline and matched it to 3 suspicious deaths. Lucas Brantley, 2015, overdose, ruled accidental. Doris Kellman, 2017, elderly patient who died after an unexpected medication change. Arielle was the attending nurse. Angela Phelps, 2018, a hospital volunteer who fell down a stairwell after reporting inappropriate boundaries with a nurse. The case was buried. There was no investigation. Each case involved sudden, isolated death, access to Arielle, paperwork inconsistencies. Jason Carter's murder may have been the most public, but it was now looking like Arielle had been rehearsing for years and getting bolder each time. Margaret Brantley, now in her 60s, had kept every voicemail, every text, every birthday card from her son. And she had one final piece of evidence she never told anyone about. A handwritten note Lucas left on his fridge, scrawled in a hurry. If anything happens to me, look at Arielle. No one ever found it during the investigation. She had removed it before police arrived because she feared no one would believe her. Now, that note could reopen the case. But as Maya was preparing her story for publication, her email was hacked. Drafts were deleted, files erased, and then a new message appeared in her inbox. Subject: you always think you're the first to find a monster. Body: monsters like me are made, not born. Want to meet the one who made me? Attached was a photo of an older woman, smiling. Arielle's mother. Records show Arielle's mother, Linda Dawson, lives in a quiet suburb of Savannah. No criminal record. A retired social worker. No one ever suspected her of anything. Until now. But Maya's research uncovered something unsettling. In 1992, Linda's husband died in a house fire. In 1997, a neighbor drowned mysteriously during a backyard party. In 2003, a high school girl accused Linda of grooming and emotional abuse during counseling. The case was dismissed. And in 2006, Naomi Ryder, Arielle's half-sister, ran away from home and never returned. All of these events predate Arielle's first suspected killing, and all of them point to one terrifying possibility. What if the killer bride was just a beginning? What if the evil didn't start with her, but was passed down, taught, perfected? Because as Maya prepares to confront the woman in the photo, she's about to learn that monsters don't just make victims. Sometimes they raise them. Linda Dawson lived in a modest yellow house with trimmed hedges, lace curtains, and a white picket fence. The kind of place that whispered normal. But Maya knew better. Armed with hidden recorders and a camera crew parked down the street, she knocked on the door. Linda opened it, calm, composed, wearing a soft blue sweater. She smiled like she'd been expecting her. "You must be Maya. Come in, sweetheart." Inside, the house was immaculate. Every photo frame carefully placed. Every cushion perfectly fluffed. And on the mantel, Maya saw something bone-chilling. A photo of Arielle and Jason, smiling. Wedding day, framed in silver. Maya wasted no time. "Maya, did you teach Arielle how to lie? How to kill?" Linda, smiling. "Oh, honey, I taught her how to survive." Linda didn't deny anything. In fact, she began to unravel a story far more disturbing than Maya anticipated. "You think this started with Arielle?" "No, sweetheart. This started long before you were born." Linda described her own childhood. Her mother, cold, manipulative, possibly abusive. Her father died under mysterious circumstances when Linda was 14. The case was closed, never investigated. She called it the curse, a generational instinct to control, manipulate, and eliminate threats. "Women in our family don't scream or cry," Linda said, sipping tea. "We remove problems, neatly." And then came the confession. Arielle was my best student, but she wasn't my only one. Maya froze. "Maya, there's another?" "Linda, of course. You already spoke to her." "Naomi." But what Linda said next made Maya's blood run cold. Naomi learned the same lessons. She just wears a different mask, a softer one. "You think she ran away from Arielle?" "No, darling, she ran away from me." According to Linda, Naomi had her own incidents. Sudden relocations, mysterious breakups, a fire at her college dorm that was ruled an accident. She learned to bury it. She plays the victim. But there's a reason she never went to the police. She's not afraid of Arielle. She's afraid of being found out. Maya tried to push back, but Linda leaned forward. "You've been so busy chasing Arielle's shadow, you forgot to look at the one casting it." Before Maya left, Linda handed her a sealed envelope for when the truth finally eats through your pretty little theory. Back in her hotel room, Maya played the audio from the interview, but 10 minutes in static, corrupted. The file was compromised. Her backup? Also gone. Someone had accessed her files remotely, and then a text message appeared on her phone. "You didn't come alone." Attached was a photo of Maya entering her hotel room, taken from across the street, taken that day. Inside the envelope Linda had given her was a photo. 2 young girls in matching dresses, Arielle and Naomi. But in the background, Maya saw something else. A mirror. And in the reflection, a 3rd child, watching. The back of the photo was scribbled with 3 names. Arielle, Naomi, Elle. There was another sibling. One no one had mentioned. One who may still be out there, possibly watching them all. Arielle may be behind bars. Naomi may be hiding. Linda may be retired. But someone else is still in the shadows. Someone who grew up in the same house, learned the same rules, and knows how to stay invisible. Because the family legacy isn't over. It's evolving. The production team behind the Honeymoon horror documentary series received a plain brown envelope. No return address. No postmark. Inside was a note written in childlike handwriting. I never learned to cry, only to watch. I'm not like Arielle. I'm not like Naomi. But I know everything. Call me Elle. Also inside, a USB drive, password protected. One word, reflection. The video on the drive was grainy but real. A hidden camera captured footage inside Linda Dawson's home. The same home where Maya had conducted her recent interview. But this wasn't from that visit. This was from years ago. In the video, Arielle sits at the kitchen table, around 16 years old. Naomi, younger, sits silently with a book. Linda paces a room, lecturing coldly. Then a voice, off camera, calm, quiet, barely audible. She said you should pretend to love him. The girls don't respond, but Linda turns sharply. You weren't supposed to be here, Elle. A moment of silence. Then the camera is abruptly covered by a hand. Fade to black. Public records confirm that a third child had been born to Linda Dawson, Lillian Dawson, born in 1995. But she was declared missing in 2009. No police report. No search filed. Just a quiet withdrawal from the system. A school transfer. A forged document. And then, nothing. Maya tracked the IP address used to send the message. It pinged from a mental health facility in rural Montana. A patient under the alias Leah Durant, institutionalized since 2010, claimed to see things others pretend not to. When shown photos of Arielle and Naomi, she whispered, "They're my sisters," but only one of us was invisible. Through her therapy sessions, now public due to court motion, Leah, aka Lillian, shared horrifying memories. Witnessing Arielle drown a neighborhood cat, being forced by Linda to hold down Naomi while she was punished, watching from behind cracked doors as Linda taught Arielle how to lie, how to fake empathy, how to smile before hurting. Lillian was different. She felt too much. So Linda labeled her unwell, a liability to the legacy. At 14, she was sent to a special school. It was a psychiatric facility. She never left. Until now. Lillian gave Maya one final message to share with the world. People ask how monsters are made. It's not in a single act. It's in 1,000 whispered choices. In every time a child is told to hush instead of speak, to smile instead of scream. Arielle wasn't born a killer. She was trained. But the world loved her smile until it saw the blood behind it. Lillian, the silent witness, chose not to become like them. But her story was a warning. When you only listen to the loud ones, the quiet ones become ghosts. And sometimes ghosts are the only ones telling the truth. Jason Carter thought he married the woman of his dreams. Instead, he entered a bloodline of nightmares. Arielle Dawson may sit behind bars, but the real horror wasn't her murder. It was the legacy that made her. A mother's coldness, a sister's silence, a brotherless family built on secrets. Now the truth is out. The monsters didn't come from nowhere. They came from home. This concludes the Honeymoon horror series, dedicated to victims whose stories were hidden beneath the smiles of their killers. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.